Alright, so I promised Pops that I would make a Planetary Interaction video, so I'll see if I can get this done. So I'm gonna separate this video into like 3 parts. The first one will be finding planet system to set up your PI on. The second part will be setting up your extractor worlds, and the third part will be setting up your factory itself to produce tier 2 and tier 3 materials. So first of all, to find a planet that you want to do your PI on, you're gonna need some command centers. So here right now I'm flying an Epithel, which has a specific cargo space for command centers and for the commodities that you will be mining on your planet. It's a pretty good ship to do your PI on. You can fit some inertial stabilizers on it to make it even faster to go around your planets and collect your stuff and whatnot. And it can hold up to 6 command centers, which is the maximum amount of planets that you can have anyway. So here I've gone ahead and gotten a few barren command centers and temperate command centers. So first of all, in order to find out where you want to mine, you open up this agency. In the agency you can click Resource Harvesting and Planetary Industry. Once you open up this screen here, you're gonna get all the nearby planets to you. You can even make a search within current system, close by. You can even choose a specific region if you want to search further away for different systems with different planets. You can also sort out the different planet types if you're looking for something very specific. But in this case, we're just going to take an overall global look at Wurus. So here in Wurus we have a couple of barren planets: lava, storm, temperate, gas, and a plasma planet. These are actually quite nice, pretty rare. This particular one is actually quite trashy, but otherwise they're pretty rare and they have some good resources on them. So if you find a system with a plasma planet, that's generally a good thing. So first of all, in order to figure out what planet you want to build on, you kind of have to figure out what you want to make. So there's different ways. Either you look at the end result and then you find a place to make it, or you look at a specific system, for example in this case Wurus, and you see what can you actually make in Wurus. So here in Wurus I've already gone through everything, so I know kind of what I'm gonna make, but the easiest way to figure it out, in my opinion, is if you just click, for example, on these base metals here, show info, planetary industry, and here in the industry tab you can see what it's required for. So reactive metals, alright, cool. So what is reactive metals used for? Well, you can see there's all these different things here: water-cooled CPU, nanofactory, etc. So let's take a look, for example, at water-cooled CPUs here. They need reactive metals and water, and reactive metals we could get that from here on this barren planet. So water would be the second thing we would need in order to make water-cooled CPU. So what do we need to make water? We need aqueous liquids. Alright, where can we get those? Oh, here on Wurus 4 we have a 36% aqueous liquids. Okay, about this one, ooh, even better, 49%. That looks pretty good. We can check the other temperate, probably not. Yeah, so let's say we want to make these water-cooled CPUs. We would probably use this planet here for aqueous liquids, and we would look for base metals, 32% here, 31% here, even lower here, 18, and this one 31, 30, and also very low. Okay, so 31 was the best we had up here. 32, sorry, 32. So we have 32 base metals and 49 aqueous liquids in order to make water-cooled CPU. But let's push it another step. We can see what the water-cooled CPUs are used for: supercomputers and guidance systems. Alright, let's look at supercomputers. Okay, so they need 3 different tier 2 materials. You won't actually be able to make that on one character, so you would either need to buy one of these or have 2 characters do PI in order to make 3 tier 2 materials. We're gonna skip over the supercomputers and instead look at these guidance systems here. Alright, they need those water-cooled CPUs we just looked at and the transmitters. Let's have a look at the transmitters. They need chiral structures and plasmoids. Alright, chiral structures needs non-CS crystals. Let's see, we can get a few of those here, 15%, not great. And we can also get a few here, 10%. If you want to know which planets you can actually get these on, you can just click show info on these non-CS crystals, and you can see plasma and lava worlds. So our best bet here would be this one here at 15%. We're not going to make a hell of a lot of them, but we'll make some, and we can maybe buy a few more on the market to supplement our production and make sure that our production is running efficiently if needed. And the other material we needed was plasmoids. So suspended plasma, we can get that from storm, plasma and lava. Let's look at this storm world here. 36%, that's pretty good. We said storm, plasma and lava. Lava 19% here, and not a lot here, 10%. So we'd be using this storm world here at 36%. So we've actually already established everything we need in order to make guidance systems here. The water-cooled CPUs, they need the base metals and the water, the aqueous liquids, and the transmitters need the chiral structures and plasmoids. So we need this barren planet here, this storm planet here, this temperate planet here, and what was the last one? I forgot. The lava world for the CS crystals. So yeah, this barren, this lava, this storm, and this temperate is the 4 planets that we'll be using to make guidance systems. So now that we decided what we're gonna make, also you might want to check, you know, how much is this shit worth. It's about 100k. 100k is pretty good. I'd say that's a good baseline for tier 3 materials if you want to make those. You can have a look at all the different specialized planetary materials. You see some of them a bit more expensive, but you might have to go to low sec or null sec in order to make some of those. But feel free to look, like for example, let's say you need Ukomi superconductors here. You can see they need superconductors. What do they need? Plasmoids and water. We just check those. We can make those here. And synthetic oil, electrolytes, which require ionic solutions, and noble gas here. Would also be a good one to make, worth a little bit more. So you just check which planets you need, the same way that I just did. Yeah. So once we've established which planets we're gonna make shit on, we're gonna have to drop some command centers. So let's say I want to mine these base metals here on WUS 1 for the transmitters that we were just looking on. I click View Planetary Industry. I do a scan, choose base metals, and then I make this little slider here as small as possible, and then I move it around, and you can see the white areas is where the resources are, and where it's not white there's no resources. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to make these white areas as small as possible, so I know where the biggest concentrations are. I'd say this big dot over here is probably the best area. Yeah. So I'm gonna build my planetary interaction for base metals on this big white dot. So I'm gonna plop down a command center. Doesn't matter where you put this, just put it somewhere. Doesn't really matter. Hit submit. And then the first thing you really want to do is upgrade this to the maximum, so you have more power grid and CPU. So yeah, hit upgrade, and now you have your command center placed. I have planetary command centers to level 4, which is what I'd recommend as a strict minimum. And then interplanetary consolidation you will probably need to 4 as well in order to make a full 5 planet production line and make tier 3 materials. But on this character I only have it at level 2 because I don't intend to actually make large planetary interactions on this one. So yeah, I've upgraded this planetary command center. I hit submit to confirm it, cost some money, and now I can start building. So this world is a mining world. It's not going to do much more than just mining. So the first thing we're putting down is extractor. hit submit, then click the extractor, click install extraction program, choose base metals, and then the first thing you really got to do is choose how long the cycles are. The longer they are, the slower the mining will be, the less efficient the mining will be. So the shorter they are, the more efficient it is. But for example, let's say I put it to 2 hours, it will mean that it would actually stop mining in 2 hours, and you will have to go in and manually restart it. So usually I try to choose 1 day, check it once a day. You can edit to whatever you want, but 1 day seems to be the middle ground that I kind of feel most comfortable with. And then you install all these miners here. Choose all 10 of them, and you can see they're already all within the white zone. Currently I'm making 27,000 per hour. It's not great. Ideally, if you want to feed a proper production, the target number here on average per hour would be 48,000. So you can see I'm basically at half that. That's the issue with high-sec PI, and there's very few resources that you're actually going to hit 48,000 with in high-sec. But let's just go with this. This is half of it, so 26,000. I hit start extraction, and now this thing is starting to mine, which is great. Then we're going to need a storage facility. I'm going to place this storage facility as close to possible to the extractor, and this is the logic that you're kind of using throughout the entire Planetary Interaction thing, is that you have to build everything as close to each other as possible, because you're going to have to link up everything with these create links over here. And the longer the link is, the more you can see here, the more power and CPU it uses. You see here it's using 75 CPU, and if I made it all the way here, it's only 30 CPU, and in this case it's only 20 CPU just connected up here. So you want to make these links as short as possible by just making everything as close to each other as possible. So yeah, storage facility, so that the resources from the harvester goes into the storage facility, and then you put a launch pad, so you can at the end, when everything is said and done, launch your shit into space. That's the three central buildings to your PI, to your mining world at least. And then you want to place these basic industries. These use 6,000 resources per hour, and as we saw here on this thing here, I'm only actually making 29,000. So that would technically only be 4 or 5 basic industries, but let's just make a complete 48,000 maxed out mining system here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what it would look like if I actually had 48,000 resources coming in. I don't, but let's just go with it anyway. Hit submit, and now your buildings are placed. You pay a bit of money. Then the next step will be connecting everything up. So you choose this create link. The first one is the harvester into the storage facility, and then the storage facility into the launch pad. That makes sort of like your central highway here. You don't want anything else connected to your extractor really, because this link between the extractor and the storage will be quite overloaded on large planets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from the storage to this one and further onto this one. This creates a path through this factory into this one. This one doesn't need to be connected any further, as this is sort of like a road, and it can go through other buildings no problem. So same thing on this side, 1, 2, connecting these two down here, and then connecting these two down here. Alright, and then I hit submit, and I've now connected everything. Now I just have to tell the Planetary Industry where the resources will go. So I pick up this thing here, the extractor, I choose the products, click on the base metals that is being harvested, and I hit create route. This will tell the harvester where to move the mined metals, and I'll choose the storage facility over here, and it's gonna automatically pick all of it here, but if you want to spread it out in different storages, you can change the amount here, but the base amount is capped at the maximum. So just hit create route, and now the harvester is automatically moving all its shit into the storage facility. Then from the storage facility, what we do is we take these metal, and you click on routes here, and you can see there's 17,000 base metals incoming. Now we have to route these to all of these things, but it won't actually allow you to do so right now because we haven't chosen what these factories are producing. And we want to produce those metals. What were they called again? Reactive metals? Yeah, reactive metals here. Choose that, hit install, and then it's going to ask you where do you want the metals when we're done. You hit the spaceport. So create route. And then you do that for all the buildings. Luckily it automatically selects reactive metals again, so I hit install, hit the spaceport, create route. And you do this for all 8 of these. Hit the spaceport, create route. Click here, reactive metals, install, click the spaceport, create route, etc. So I'll just go ahead and do that for all 8 of these. Alright, so now these factories know that they have to make reactive metals, and they will automatically ship everything they produce into the spaceport, which they will be using the route here down through the storage facility and then up to the spaceport. There's no problem. You can see this route is barely overloaded with 9.7%, so it has room to move far more materials. You don't even need to worry about the routes in this particular case. And then lastly we take these base metals that are incoming. You can see here it shows all the routes that are going through, and you can see there's a lot of reactive metals transiting. That's all the reactive metals being produced going through the storage facility and into the spaceport. Just ignore those, and you take these incoming base metals, click them, create route, and then you tell it to go to these factories, and it's going to ship 3,000 every 30 minutes. And then you just do that for all of the others. Create route, click on this building, and you can see it lights up orange because now it realizes, oh great, everything is as it's supposed to be. I don't have anything right now because this extractor hasn't done mining yet, but everything is as it's supposed to be. I got the incoming correct materials, and I got the correct output to go store or ship somewhere. So create route, create route, create route, and there we go. And that's actually it. Now this mining world is harvesting these resources. It's moving it into the storage, which then moves it into the factory, transforms it into reactive metals, and ships it to the spaceport, which you can then later go and pick up. The spaceport can store quite a bit. I would assume with this kind of setup it would probably be able to store maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 days worth of mining without you even having to touch it. Just restart it. Speaking of restart, actually we'll take this at the end. So yeah, this is a harvesting world, and it's gonna mine for the next 24 hours, no problem. Remember to always hit submit before you close this window. And there we go. So you would have to do that on all 4 worlds. So we've done here base metals. You'd have to do it here on this lava world for CS crystals. On this world here, storm world for suspended plasma. And on this temperate world for aqueous liquids, making your 4 materials. Once you've done that, you want to build your factory to take all these 4 materials and put them together to create an end product. So I'll just pick randomly this, it doesn't matter which world you do it on, find a nice looking cool spot. Yeah, all these clouds, maybe here, this continent here looks cool. Alright, yeah, I'll build my command center, doesn't matter where. Apparently I have some PI somewhere else. Alright, let's get rid of those. Industry, I'll add this PI, Planetary Industry button to my shortcut list here, so it's a bit easier to access. Let's see, okay, so I have this. I'll just delete that. Yeah, that's old. I don't even know what I was doing, so just don't look at this, okay? Great, there we go, it's gone. What the hell was that? Toxic metals, chiral structures. Okay, yeah, that is old. So yeah, let's make this factory. And I lost a cool looking spot. Where was it? Oh, here. It's not the same, but it looks cool. So I'll build my command center. I'll upgrade it to maximum. There we go. And then I hit submit. Cost me a bit of money. Alright, so what we're gonna need here, this is gonna be a factory world. We're gonna be inputting those 4 materials that we're mining on the different planets, and we're gonna assemble them here. So first of all, we're gonna need a launch pad to receive the resources and to ship them out again at the end. And we're gonna need a storage facility, sort of a, actually I'm gonna move this, I don't like the location, I want this to look a little bit cooler. So I'm gonna move this a bit further down here. And then storage facility to store the middle tier products, the tier 2 products, as they are waiting to be shipped out to be making tier 3 products. And essentially that is all that we're gonna need. Actually, yeah, I want to make a bit different setup. It really depends on how you want it to look, I guess. As long as everything is as close together as possible, it's great. So we're gonna need advanced industries. Again, I'm gonna design this for a harvester that does 48,000 resources per hour, which I would consider to be a pretty good baseline. And for that, you're gonna need 8 of these. So in the case of that other setup that we made, that's only harvesting 28,000 resources per minute, we actually only need 4 of these. But let's just go all in and make the big one. So that's for making one of the tier 2 resources, and this is for making the other. So 8 of each. And then for every 2 of those, if you want to make tier 3 resources, you're going to need 1 more factory to make the tier 3. So in this case I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 2 of these can feed 1 of the tier 3 production. So 2 tier 2 producers to feed 1 tier 3. And that's 2 of each, of course, since we're going to making 2 different materials. I hit submit to place the buildings. Cost some ISK. And then I'm going to create the links. So from storage to the launch pad. So everything here is going to go, maybe I should have, doesn't matter. So we're going to start by linking this launch pad up here to these guys, nice and simple. And then these guys need to be connected somehow as well. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Just connect everything so it is part of the network, and yeah, if you can be a little bit efficient about it, go ahead. And you don't need more CPU or power grid at this point. So if you want to make a few extra routes here in the middle, for example, so that the game can optimize a little bit for you, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. You can see my power grid and CPU is close to cap at this point. If I had the level 5, I could maybe place a few more and increase harvesting a little bit if I had some good worlds. So yeah, here we're gonna be making water-cooled CPUs. What was the other one again? We're gonna making guidance systems, so we need transmitters. Alright, so we're making water-cooled CPUs. Pick those, install, and this time we're gonna move them to the storage facility, because they're gonna be moved from here over to the tier 3 factories. So yeah, create route, and we're gonna install these on these 8 over here. Create route, install. What happened here? Oh, choose the storage facility, create route, install, create route, install, create route. And you go ahead and do this for all these 8 on one side. These 8 are making water-cooled CPUs now, and this one is going to be making transmitters. There we go. Create route to the storage facility, and then we do the same on all the others. Create route. So yeah, again, this is a factory for mining 48,000 resources per hour. You can scale these down and have less skill requirements if you're mining less. But I think this is you know, a good middle ground of skill requirement and output. And then here at the end we were making tier 3 materials. You can see here it says tier 2, and then we're going down to tier 3, and we were making guidance systems because they were needing water-cooled CPUs and transmitters. And we can see these guys make 3 every hour. So we install these and we move those to the launch pad. This is our final product, and this is what we're going to be selling. So you're going to put this in here, 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 here. So you see, if we could fill out, if we mined 48,000 resources on each of the harvesting worlds, we could keep these 4 factories occupied. In this particular case, we'd probably only be able to keep 2 occupied. So that would be 6 guidance systems per hour. That's 600,000 per hour. That's about 12, about 14.4 million ISK per day here in Wuros. But if you could fill all 4 of them, that would obviously double to 28.8 million per day. If you could actually mine 48,000 resources per hour with this kind of setup. Of course, you'd have to deduct the fees that you have to pay every time you put stuff out in and out of the system. Anyway, yeah, I've chosen these guidance systems on all 4 of these buildings. I think I have, right? No, not on this one. Yeah, I have. So I've chosen guidance systems on all of these buildings, and I'm producing the 2 materials required on these 2 buildings. So now, and these 2 buildings are shipping their materials to the storage facility over here. So what I gotta do now is I gotta take these transmitters and water-cooled CPUs and tell them to go up to these 4 buildings here. So choose a transmitter, create route, and I do that for all 4 buildings. Oh, this is outgoing, so I don't want to touch this outgoing. I have to keep touching this incoming. There we go. Create route over here. Create route. So that was the transmitters. Now I have to do the same thing again for the water-cooled CPUs. And now when I hit the create route here, this building should say go yellow here and say, okay, great, I have everything that I need now. Awesome. Because I have linked to both water-cooled CPUs and transmitters over to it, so it knows what's going on now. Bam, 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 bam. There we go. Hit submit, and now these 4 are prepared. So as soon as these 8 here and these 8 here starts manufacturing stuff and shipping it to the storage container, they're automatically going to be moved up to these 4. Going to make the tier 3 material and move it to the shipping hangar here. Now the only thing is I'm going to have to actually physically put stuff in here in order to route the materials over to these 4. They're going to show up here in the storage once you put it in, and then you just click the material, create route, and fill up all these 8. I'm not going to be able to give you an example right now, I think. Let me just check. I think it should take like a good 45 minutes before my first materials from the first world here is going to be ready. Let's see. Yeah, you can see some of these buildings have started working here. You see in production. It's going to take another 25 minutes before they actually output anything that I can use. I can check here in Woos if I can buy any. No. Let's see if there's anything. Maybe some water if I'm lucky. No. I'm not going to be able to show you what happens, but that's, now we've gone over, you know, the mining world. This is the mining world here. You can click view and see it, you know, the harvester, the storage, and the 8 factories. And we've gone through the factory that we just done, this one here. Obviously you're going to need 4 mining worlds in order to feed this. I'm not going to do this in this video. You can probably deduce yourself at this point how to do it. And then the last thing is going to be like your daily routine. And your daily routine is going to be, you're going to right click on this world here, hit the customs office, access customs office, and you'll get all the stuff in the launch pad here. You can move these over here and hit transfer. It's going to come with a little bit of cost. That's just the way it is. You can see the tax rate here is 15%. And that's just the way it is. And then once you've done that, you also have to restart these miners. So if you hit view here, these miners, remember we set them to oh, that's the launch pad. We set these guys to 24-hour cycles. You can see there's 23 hours and 41 minutes left. You can wait it out and then just hit start again, or you can manually by clicking on it and clicking on this install extraction program, you can hit stop program and start again, and then it's going to give it a new 24-hour cycle when you hit submit. So that you have to do every day. If you set it to 24 hours, you can set it to a week if you want to. It's just going to mine a bit slower and be a little bit less efficient, but you have to do that every time that you set it for. You move your materials customs office over to this guy here. You can see this guy has a lot more room than the launch pad and the customs office. And then when you're ready, you can just right click on this, go to the customs office and warp to it. And once you warp to it, you're gonna have the physical POCO. So now I'm just gonna warp over to it. There's not gonna be anything in it just yet. It's gonna take another half an hour's time. Arrive here at this POCO here. You can open it, access customs office, and then you transfer your stuff out from your launch pad into your POCO, and then from the POCO you can pick up the stuff and put it directly into your ship, into this planetary commodities hold. Just move it over here. You do this for all 4 of your mining worlds. So if I had another mining world, I would like right click that one at this point and hit warp, go over there, pick that one up, do the other 3, 4. And then at the very end I would move over to this factory here and basically do the same thing in reverse. So yeah, I'd warp over to the customs office on my factory here. You can see it by it producing water-cooled CPUs, transmitters, and finally guidance systems, which they cost about 100,000 each. And here in Woos you can probably expect to make about 6 an hour with the goal of aiming for 24,000 materials per hour. Oh, hello there, Euron. So yeah, we arrive at this POCO here. and at the very end we would take all the materials from our planetary commodities hold, move it in here, and then move it down to the launch pad and hit transfer. Once we do that, the factory itself down here will receive these materials down on the launch pad in the storage here, and you'll have the list of the 4 materials that you've just put down. Then you just click each individual material, hit create route, and send them over to these side factories, and make sure they also have this yellow ring signaling that they have everything they need to begin production. And yeah, that's basically PI in a nutshell. Alright, so I wanted to make a little bit of a completion on the previous parts, so I've logged on to another character here. I'm going to show you the daily routine that I go through for maintenance of my PI. So yeah, I'm going to open up here my PI screen. You see I have my 1, 2, 3, 4 mining worlds, and my factory here in the center. In this system here I'm making superconductors, no, actually I'm making Ukumi superconductors, but my tier 2 materials is synthetic oils and superconductors. So yeah, I'm gonna warp over to the 4 different planets here. And while I warp, just because you don't really have to do this, but that's what I usually do, I open up these customs office, move it over here from the launch pad to the POCO. Has a cost. Here in this system I have a 9% tax, which amounts to 190,000 for these 5,280 plasmoids. I hit transfer. I do this for all 4 of my mining worlds. Go. So once I've done that, the launch pad is empty, and it can, even if I go away like a while and don't maintain it too much, it will have time to store up some stuff. So I prefer having the launch pad as empty as possible whenever I can. So the next step is I'm gonna go over to the 4 different mining worlds POCOs, and I'm gonna pick up all the different materials and place them into my cargo hold here. You see I kind of forgot to unload my superconductors from yesterday. So yeah, I'll pick up these plasmoids. Can't do it in warp. There we go. Do the same for the next one. So I reckon this daily routine takes about 5 days. 5 minutes, not 5 days though. That would be a fucked up daily routine, I guess. Kind of time and space warping daily routine. So yeah, just warping between the 4 mining worlds, picking up the materials, and at the very end I'll ship them over to this one here, who makes the final product. You can see I actually already have some final product here that I've loaded in. That is pretty much ready to just throw into the factory and keep producing. And that's because the launch pad itself, as I explained earlier, is smaller than the POCO's storage. So if we go back and look at it here, you can see it only has 10,000 cubic meters of space, while this one has 35,000. So I can just place some materials here and ship them in a bit later. So for example, let's do that. 25. Just because I like it, I prefer to give even amounts at all times, so the storage doesn't get uneven and I have to fix it later. So I ship down 200, 2015, 2,500 of each material here, ship it down to the launch pad and hit transfer. That way it has some more materials to make Ukumi superconductors for me, which is what is my tier 3 material, which is what I'm gonna sell in the end. So yeah, picking up the oxygen. There we go, and then lastly the water. And so that's the sort of like the transfer of stuff. And then every day, since we put 24-hour cycles on our miners here, you can see I have 7 hours left on this cycle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop, start, submit, and I gotta do that on all 4 of these. So there we go. Stop, start, submit, close, and I don't know if you noticed on the previous world, but you can see these white spots of resources. They're actually moving as you're mining, which is quite troublesome. So you could every day, go and scan. What am I even mining here? I'm mining noble gas. So let's see. Oh, yeah, this is quite bad. So you see I'm actually running out of noble gas in range right now, so I'd have to wait a little bit until it comes back, but I can still adjust it and still get some mining done here. And remember, my goal, generally speaking, is about 48,000 per hour, and in this case I'm making 52,000, so I'm still good. Hits the submit. Now I'm making sure this world is up to date. So where's the popo? Here, open this up, pick up the water, and then at the end I go to my factory. And we can do the same thing with this one, also restart it. Oh, this is quite bad. We're mining water here. No. So I'm gonna have to move these miners down here. Just making sure that I'm still making 48,000 an hour, ideally, to hit my goals of filling out my factory. Realistically, I'm probably not gonna fill it out every day, my factory, and I'm also a little bit lazy, so you can see here 43,000. Not amazing, but I'm gonna go with it for now. And then I've updated the 24-hour cycle on all 4 of my miners, and lastly all I have to do is fill out my factory. There it is. So I'm gonna have to move these guys out. This is my end product. So I'm gonna put this here, and then these 4 guys I'm gonna put them down here. Then I have some extra materials. I could ship them over here if I wanted to right now, but they still have some material. I'm happy with that. And that's basically the daily routine. Also to kind of just fix a little bit from my last video, once you've shipped stuff down, as I said, you get it down here on this launch pad. You go to the storage here, click what's called the different resources. So for example, on this side here I'm making synthetic oil, which require oxygen and electrolytes. So what I would do is I would go here, electrolytes, create route, ship it over here, oxygen, create route, ship it over here, and then do the same for all 8 of these. And then for the other side, plasmoids and water, create route up here, water, create route up here, and then do the same for the other 7. And that should complete your PI from the last part.